Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 26, heading into the second race of the season. We've already had a good start to the season, but yet to score points. I do think we're going to be very capable of getting points, not only with more upgrades coming into the car, but just tracks that suit us better than the previous. Two pieces of information before we really dive into the game. First off, at time of recording, it's just happened. It's breaking news. For you, it's 2 days later. I'm recording this Friday morning, but it has been announced Nicholas Latifi will not be returning to Williams next season. That's a surprise to no one. Probably even Latifi was well aware that that was going to be coming, as he has been well off the pace throughout his time in the Williams. And I really, really strongly think that if it hadn't been decided on a long time ago, a while ago, even a short while ago, it certainly, the final nail in that coffin that was Latifi's F1 career, absolutely came with Nick De Vries performing miles better than Latifi. And then Latifi turning around post-race and saying how the challenges of the car, which do exist, there's a reason why it's at the back of the grid and not often in the points, and struggling to compete, though obviously better a car than what we had here at the start of the game. I mean, we were so far off the pace, and in real life it's not that far off the pace this year. But anyway, still a struggle. Still a car that's difficult to drive. Still a car that is absolutely to the back end of the field. But point being, pointing out the flaws of the car and blaming them for his lack of progress. Last-ditch effort to defend himself that it was done. And something tells me, much like Herm Edwards, for those who don't know who that is, former NFL coach and for a number of years Arizona State University college football coach, on field after a poor performance, on field the athletic director and president of the university stopping him at the end zone as he's walking off the field post-game to let him know that he is out of a job. Something along those lines may have been in order for Latifi, but like I said, it very well could have been something that was decided a long time ago. The announcement just happening to coincide with that lack of result and that bit of a rant from Latifi. Not a bad rant, but very much trying to excuse his performance when he's been outclassed by Albon, Russell, and now De Vries at every step of the way. Second announcement, we're going to have lag still for, I'd say, 2 more episodes. One at the very least, this one, but maybe one more with the graphics turned down and things existing as they have been. But following that, things should be much improved. All of the components for the upgrades to my computer have now arrived as of late yesterday, and like I said, it's Friday now. This weekend I'm going to be putting that all together, so by my next recording session for F1 Manager and my other titles, all of that will be in place, and hopefully we'll be back to full ultra across the board, and the coding of the recording, or encoding of the recording, keeping up without any lag, any more stutter, and back to the beautiful graphics that this game has. In the meantime, back to the game. Porsche and Albon both have picked up development points. Don't let me forget. I know you telling me isn't going to do me any sort of good, because it's going to be after I record and post this. If I was, say, live on Twitch or on YouTube Live, then you can throw me those reminders and they might actually do some good. But let's hope I don't forget to get doing in the car for FP1 literally every race the rest of the season. So reactions now up to a 66. that accuracy and control both really, really desperately need to come up as well. And maybe just maybe we'll start worrying a little less about that pace and a little bit more about the consistency sooner rather than later, not pushing that all the way up to 80 with the next 14 points, but maybe 70 and then start, or just inching them all along as they kind of catch up with each other. We'll see, but those need to happen. This I'm not as worried about. It'll come along eventually. And for Albon, we are finally hitting that magic number that I've been waiting for, which is an 80 pace now. Everything is 80 plus, which means we're going to probably work on his accuracy a little bit, bring that up to an 80 as well next. Staff upgrade from a 74 to a 75 for Demason, and that came from an underfloor upgrade to our technical chief. Also, I don't know what happened because I could have sworn January 1st that we were told once again that the objective for the year was 9th or higher, and that I very confidently was like, oh yeah, okay, we've got this in the bag. It's going to be an easy year. Following the first race, even though we had a really solid performance and finished 8th as a constructor in the race and very nearly finished 7th, except for one Haas squeezing in a 10th place performance and getting a point, the team came back and said, oh, we're not satisfied with how you did in the race. And I was like, what the heck? Now, as you can see up here, our season objective is 7th or above. So I don't know if it recalculated somewhere along the line, but yeah, they want us to finish 7th now this year. And that easily goes into that long-term objective of being a points contender and almost pushes it to the stage to get 7th or above. We would almost need to pass that long-term objective this season to make that happen. I'm a little disappointed that they suddenly raised that to that extent. That's a big ask, considering the car really is still roughly 9th best or maybe 8th best, but realistically, looking at the comparisons, it's still 9th best at the moment. Getting much, much closer, and will absolutely score points a lot more often this season. And with progress, I think we can get that 7th place this season. I think we can pull it off, but a little disappointed that the board, without offering any new funds or anything, suddenly is demanding more from us. As we head to Jeddah, most dangerous track out there, that conversation last week about replacing tracks and which one should it be, and boo-hoo, 3 Grand Prix in the U.S. If there's a track to replace, outside of Sochi, this is it, because it's the most dangerous by far of any track. Blind corner after blind corner after blind corner. And while it may be good for our car this season, and hey, it might be good for our car this season, if there's ever a time that we should be in the points so far in this series, it's here. Regardless of weather, right? Weather we've seen go our direction and things go well for us. But this is circumstances that just straight up the track, we should be good enough to score points. But anyway, this is the track that is the most dangerous on the calendar. It's the most likely to cause harm to a driver. Therefore, if there's a track that should be replaced, it's this one. And then there's the whole circumstances behind where we're at and what issues there might be surrounding the safety of the circuit, the drivers, the staff, the crew while there. And for the first time since literally the first race of the first season, I'm going to actually opt to throw down some guarantees, put some money on the line to increase our sponsorship rewards for the weekend. We stand to potentially lose some money, but the gains are far better. Qualifying position of 14th or above, I think we can manage to do that. Reach Q2 with one driver, I think we could absolutely do that this race weekend. We nearly did that at a poor track last week. Race target, fastest lap. No, I don't think we're going to do that. Qualifying position streak, one driver 15th or above. Yeah. But the hot streak target, that's a big ask because we would have to do that next week as well.
Formula One is back. Welcome to one of the fastest circuits on the calendar here at Jeddah. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is about to kick off and the atmosphere here is electric. The Jeddah Street Circuit has one of the fastest average speeds as well as the most corners of any track on the calendar. Good high-speed downforce is going to make life in the fast lane a little easier for drivers here this weekend. We might still be early in the season, but that doesn't mean we can sit back and relax. Everything is up for grabs and nothing is certain at this stage. The weekend begins here.
So far, so good. You reminded me, or at least I reminded myself, that Jack Doohan needs to be in the car. Reserve driver. FP1. Always over Albin. Always. We need to get the young guys in there to develop as much as possible. So far, I think this is the worst setup we've ever had on the first go. Just 19%, absolutely terrible. And we were still faster than the Aston Martins with everything turned down. So really good sign that we are going to have some pretty solid pace. Car parts knowledge already hitting 97% just here. Remember, it started at 0% beginning of last weekend. So very, very low on that part and coming along very fast in race number 2. Track acclimatization is going to be an issue for Albin, I think, going forward, as he's going to be missing a total session every time. And Doohan already has nearly the maximum 500 points that he's going to gain, so he'll easily have that. Plus his modifier to make it quite a bit higher. He'll have nearly 1,000 points for just mentioned a moment ago how 19% was the worst I've ever seen. Doohan comes in a lap later, 15%. So we've got some work to do. Moment of truth for Albin, as we have his setup locked down. 97% the acclimatization, only at 52% right now, so we're going to run him for these last 23 minutes. But we have that second set of soft tires for this session, so we've turned it up to just normal. See what his race pace is, and instantly goes to just about a second off of Verstappen's pace. A second. That's it. 1 second off the leader's pace. Inside a second. Now, we're only running him 6 laps on normal, and then we'll turn it back down as we finish out the session. We're not turning it up either. Porsche, still working on that setup. We were still in the 80s on that latest, so we're trying to get him there, but we're also running through the tires today. It was 86%. We've hit optimal. We've hit great in 2 areas, and the optimal one, this is where we were the weakest. So it seems like we've nailed that down, but as long as we didn't mess up the others trying to get that, then this should get him up there as well. But, he's still got to go out and run some more with that one more set of tires here. Still 15 minutes to go here in testing. Porsche still working on getting that feedback, and we're not going to turn it up for him. He's focused on getting the feedback. We've got 93% of the acclimatization, so he's good otherwise. I don't need both cars turned up to find out. We just needed to see where one of them fits, and Albin, in the end, just 0.8 of a second off of Verstappen. Right now, he is ahead of Russell, ahead of Bottas, and we are well ahead of a lot of our competitors. That 7th seems easily within reach today, or this race weekend anyway. And I do think we're going to see Q3 on merit for the first time, not just because we outsmarted other teams in the rain, but in dry conditions. We haven't seen Q2 yet in fully dry conditions, and I think we're going to see Q3 today. That's huge. Just getting started, out looking for that banker lap, and both drivers get past the start pit lane without anybody getting in our way, so they will get a clean run in. And we're probably not even going to have to push that much here in Q1. I don't think we're going to need all the additional runs. I think 1 set of tires should do it. And you can see right now, off of signs anyway, we're within 0.8, both drivers. Albin, that little bit faster. You can see we are well ahead of some of the guys. Right now, though, P9, P10 is where we're standing. Now P11, P12, so maybe that top 10, at least in terms of qualifying, could be a struggle, or it's just the track grip, as it's P13, P14 at the moment. But more than half a second, almost a second actually, ahead of the others. But you know that there's going to be, we're going to stay on the same tires. We're going to try. We're going to try. Taking a risk here, but we're going to try. Same tires. I'm confident enough that that's going to be enough. Okay, definitely getting towards the tail end of this. Let's go Albin first. And then Porsche. I think we're on the last 4 cars. Yes, we are in the last 4 cars heading out on track. So that's well within the window. And we ride on board with Porsche as he heads towards the start-finish straight to get started on his Q1 lap. And this is his second lap on this set of tires. We'll see if that update has actually caused a degrade, but we have a good second right now over the chasing field, well ahead of Norris, Stroll, Schumacher, the Alfa Romeos, who apparently are not good in fast corners, and then Vettel. So Guan Yu Zhou put in a much better time. We know that Vettel, that's not his representative time. Let's hope we are going to be quick enough here. Checking in on the drivers, let's see where we're at on those times so far. Green in Sector 1 for both, as they're already starting to moderately overheat. The tires are eaten. They're just eaten alive on this track, like those high speed corners. Right now we are on the bubble, P14, P15. We've already got Schumacher beat comfortably right now, almost a second and a half down, and I think we can go a good half second better. Porsche looking good on his time up in Sector 2 as well. Albin, though, not a very good Sector 2. And we are out at the moment. We are going to need to improve our times, but the lap has looked good from Porsche as we drop to P17, P18. Albin, P15. Sonoda's out, though. Porsche, where's the better time? Wow. Okay. Was it the tires? Could be. It used to be that you could run and run and run and not be impacted. We've tested it. We've run. We were not as fast. We did not improve that much in Q1 over our previous times. Was that A, they really just don't have that much pace, or was that B, the tire wear? Hard to say which. Let me know if you've seen in the update that tire wear is more representative over the life of the tires than before. Or is it still just they fall off the cliff at 30% and below, but otherwise they stay about the same on pace?
Drivers are strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
Williams had a good performance in qualifying. Now they'll be eager to demonstrate that they can have an even better race. Haas proved quite resourceful during qualifying. That puts them in a very good position to make the most of this race start. We've been having lovely clear weather, although there are a few clouds lurking. Hopefully they'll stay in check for the duration of the race.
Well, the streets of Jeddah are abuzz, and the teams are nearly ready for the start of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Obviously, I just suffered from overconfidence. We've never gotten out of Q1, and I thought now was the time. At least, not in dry conditions. I was very confident that we had it in the bag. Probably should have just gone with the fresh sauce. That may or may not have been the cause, as we don't know if they did address it in the update. They said they were going to, so if they did, then that's likely the reason, which means it's very much on me knowing that, hey, it was coming and it was said, it was rumored, and yeah, so all I can do is hope that was the case, accept the blame, and move on. Otherwise, we really still are that far off the pace, which means even this weekend, with a pretty good track, we could still be in for another long weekend and struggling to get points, and therefore continually struggling to achieve the team's ambitions, not just my own ambitions of moving up the grid, but the team that thinks we should have moved up 2 positions by now without any influx of cash. That part's a little worrying. We'll see how we fare in the race. Let's get to it.
The drivers are lined up tonight under mostly clear skies. Here we have Alexander Albon. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. And looking at the second Williams car, they're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. The race start is mere seconds away. It's almost time for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
If I'm not mistaken, 2 of the 3 times that we scored points last season, it came down to wet qualifying, good qualifying performances, wet race, good result in the wet. So getting through the field after a poor qualifying in a track that's going to be really hard to overtake on feels challenging. And Stroll has overtaken Porsche apparently. Yeah, I guess that's P19, so yes, technically that would be the case as he beat us off the line. Porsche, you can see all over the back end of him. I think beating the Aston Martins is going to be easy because there's a huge pace differential, more than a second a lap better than they are, and I think that's going to be enough to make an overtake. But otherwise, a little worried about how we're looking elsewhere. As we've already kind of gone into clean air here, let's just
can afford to drop back,
go neutral and wait for the DRS. Use that DRS to help complete the passes. I think we have the pace to stay very close, and then use that DRS extra advantage. And we're good with DRS, so I think we'll have to rely on that for our overtakes. But meanwhile, Porsche failing to overtake, but still keeping Stroll under pressure. We need to get around Stroll as fast as possible to get up on the heels of everybody else. Otherwise, we really, really run the risk of getting left way, way behind as we have Stroll on softs. Porsche started on the hard compound, so it did hurt us off the line, and that is why we've lost that position. The pace difference in the soft or the hard is such that we are this far behind. I think now's a good time to go on to that attack because I think we can have a look here. Thought we might be able to have a look up the inside, but not quite. Now, good news here is Stroll, I think somewhere up the grid order, somebody had a bad corner, bad run, backing people up, and that allowed Stroll to get back within range of Tsunoda, which are all over the back end of Stroll now. Looking to the inside, but still staying tucked in for now. Again, looking to the inside, and again we tuck in. Looks like we're going to have to wait for DRS.
Stay firm on DRS.
And we would easily have it here. Especially as Stroll has now fallen out of DRS range. Tsunoda has fallen out of DRS range behind Albon as well. Porsche, fortunately, has not used much of that ERS that he has because he's so close behind Stroll but can't get into the right position to have a look. So I think he probably would have been in the right position with the deployment. Once or twice there, he was so close and really having that look. And now he has a look to the outside. Again, touch to the inside, switches back to the inside, and he'll get to the inside here on the corner and completes the move. On that gap, it's extending for now, and Albon very, very close behind Vettel. And Albon has passed Vettel, yes. And no DRS for sure either, though. Great news is that's without any assistance, right? That's everything neutral. We are faster.
Good.
And Albon up another spot, past Vettel? No, past Guan Yu Zhou. both AlphaTauris
And a
behind
new
us now.
position.
Pourchaire has caught up to Sonoda. Pourchaire has caught Sonoda. So dropping to standard, dropping to balanced. We will now be in that DRS train. Checking in. Only 3 drivers on the soft compound. They are probably in for a 2-stopper. Norris and both of the Aston Martins doing that. Now, that absolutely has messed with Pourchaire's race quite a bit, as we had to push way harder as a result because of the slower start. So for those who aren't familiar with the compounds, you have more grip on the soft, and therefore your takeoff from a standing start is significantly faster. It's not about reaction time on that one. It's the grip that the tire has allows for more gas pedal, more fuel being fed in, and therefore faster takeoff. Because there's less grip on a hard compound, you have to ease into it more, which means you get a slower takeoff. Therefore, automatic reversal. So with the slower takeoff from Pourchaire on that hard compound, Stroll was able to get ahead of us when we were in that side-by-side, but a car length ahead. Therefore, he impacted our race negatively because we had to overtake him and then close this gap up to these guys, which we have now done. And Albon, without even knowing it, has fallen back behind Vettel and Guan Yu Zhou. No idea what happened there. Unfortunate, as we are back down to P16 and Pourchaire. We're already getting that fuel going the right way. And look how much extra tire wear we've managed to F up here. 86%, 84%. Not good. We got that ERS charged up here on lap number 9. So back to just straight neutral, and we're just, for Pourchaire especially, we're just going to run and cruise. For one thing, he's on the hard compound, so we're going long anyway, and 2, all that extra expenditure that he had is costly. Now, meanwhile, we're going to change our focus to Albon here at some point as Schumacher goes into the pits, and so does Norris, and Stroll heads into the pits now as well. And we've had a crash on track in Sector 1. Somebody has gone in, and Pourchaire is making his way past Sonoda.
Good job, good job.
We just caught the edge of that, and Perez has crashed in turn 4. Let's see what happened here.
Red Bull.
Oh, we clipped the inside of the wall there.
There's the crash.
Getting a bit too tight to the apex. There he is, slowly making his way back towards the pits, but still in the race for now, unless he does end up retiring. I don't see how you could stay in the race.
Keep doing
Maybe
what
you
you're
could
doing.
make it back to pit road and head to the garage,
There's
but
an overtake
I would think
from
that damage
Williams.
would be certain. So that puts us up to P14, P15 for now. Perez, at the very least, took a bunch of extra tire wear from that move. You can see Pourchaire, not that far off, actually, from others on the hard compound, but he's definitely gone a bit deeper. And we're slowly recovering that now. But Albon, I mean, come on, dude. Pourchaire's on the hard compound, was well behind, and is now half a car length behind you. So, Albon, tire wear might be good, but other things are not. Let's just push and see what happens.
Okay, reduce
Doing
lifting
nothing
post.
else. Is that enough to make
Yep,
an
okay.
overtake as we instantly get up 3 wide? 3 wide. Are they both going to make the overtake? Come on now. That's 1. Come on, Albon. Pourchaire looks like he's going to tuck back in behind. They both tuck in. Albon, you had him passed. Oh my gosh. Bottas with the lockup. By the way, right now, Norris is behind us because of the pit, but I think he's forced himself into a 2-stop strategy. Therefore, there's the extra pit stop, so we are now ahead of him on track. Same with Perez. We don't know. Perez is out running, so we'll kind of times he's putting in, we'll see. I would imagine he's carrying damage and probably has compromised his race. Therefore, our P14, P15 right now, well, you beat Joe, Vettel, Ricardo in this train. You get ahead of them, get beyond them, and we're looking at P11, P12. That's still not where we want to be. We want to get into those points. Ricardo, the AlphaTauris, so the McLarens, the AlphaTauris, the Aston Martins all behind. That puts us in 7, so that's good. But, I mean, come on, we want to get into the points here. And right now, Ricardo's 7.5 seconds behind the train in front. That's getting worrying. Albon needs to get by and start increasing the pace of this train. And Albon is really letting me down right now with pretty poor performance here. We're going to have to use the overtake there goes Joe into the pits. Lap 17, and Albon has gone back around Porsche. And we're back in the good graces of the fuel gods. Here we go with Albon all over the back end, but not able to actually challenge. He finally gets to the inside, and Porsche almost squeezes his way through as well, and is having a look, and Porsche is passed. Porsche is passed as Sonoda. No, that was Vettel. Vettel peels off into the pits.
Gasly has pitted for new option.
Gasly, Bottas, Vettel, all in the pits. Not good timing to lose the wheel, as we still have a number of laps to run, so that DRS advantage for Porsche would be very, very welcome to keep up that pace. Porsche right now looking to have the better race at this stage, as Albon gets to the inside. We've got side-by-side running there momentarily with Ricardo, but we tuck back in as it's really hard to run side-by-side through there. And that should allow Porsche back within a second. At least for a moment, he does get back within.
He's overtake.
He was right about a second at the DRS detection zone there, so I'm not sure if he's going to get it. He does not. He does not. And Albon gets to the inside of Ricardo, and we are finally ahead. We are running neutral. Keep up this. Keep up this. Keep right on running as long as we can here, even if that means dragging Ricardo with us. We need to overcut these guys and get away. We gained 2 positions because somebody was pitting. Right now it's P8. Very much in the window. I was having Albon extend by a couple laps of what he could do. So we are extending by a couple laps compared to what was expected. You can see a lot of the other guys are pitting now. Meanwhile, we've started pulling away from Ricardo, so we do have a pace advantage here. Back under threat from Ricardo. We remain ahead. And we are still right at that 7.5 seconds behind those in front of us. That's that worrying part. Verstappen is already pit. He comes out just ahead of Ocon. It's Verstappen with the lockup. And we are now just 3 seconds behind Verstappen. So 37%. I've got at least 1 lap left in these tires. I might be able to squeeze out 2 as Ricardo is looking to go past. We're going to make a decision on whether to pit this lap or not a little bit later on. But now that we are behind Danny Rick, we will back off a little bit there. Having a look side by side with Ricardo, but again we tuck back in. We'll see if Ricardo decides to pit here, but at 35%, yes, we absolutely have 1 lap left in these. By the way, with Albon, we have been the race's longest runner, so we've already extended longer than any other car, and every single driver is out there on the hard compound right now. So that's really good news for us, as that means we're going to spend less time on the hard compound. And from the looks of it, those on the hard compound are probably going to be switching to the mediums with shorter stints. So Albin has done well, and actually pushing here, looks like he's going to make that pass on Ricardo before heading into the pits, which is going to give us that much more of an advantage. Oh, look at the timing here. Whoa, 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 we just stopped. We just stopped on the rejoin. Stopped completely and are seconds behind everybody. There's no rule about having to stop to rejoin. You are not coming from an unsafe release where you've had it off and you have to rejoin safely. You can join there. You have to be careful about how you do so, but you absolutely can join there. That's why there is a racing line and an overtake line there, and if it's a safety car, it's whoever crosses the point first. But anyway, it was safe for us to rejoin there. That is super unlucky. Big incident here as Sonoda and Pourchaire were battling back and forth. And as we round the corner there, went out through 13, I was hoping that was going to be the highlight we needed. It must be at turn 1. It's not the overtake that I was worried about, but at turn 1 we have an incident, and Pourchaire, we have virtual safety car, and it is Pourchaire who has somewhere through this sequence at turn 1, turn 2 area. Pourchaire has run wide and hit the wall, I would think, and has flats. Let's hope that he can make it back to the pits, or does he have additional issues? That is his left rear. He has a flat on the left rear, terminal damage, chassis damage, suspension damage, so we're going to have to replace the front wing. We do get it moving again, as you see that heavy sparking on the left rear. All the way back to the Aston Martins, as Schumacher pretty much just drove into us there, and we have to stop on track. And that puts us in an absolute ugly, disgusting 17th and 20th, with 4 cars at the front of the field taking advantage of the VSC. So Pourchaire's pace is now representative compared to the Aston Martins, so Pourchaire will not feature in this race in any formidable way going forward, not only from the time loss, but from the damage he's carrying. So our race from now on is completely with Albin, and 20 laps to go. So just like last season, Albin's race is often with Vettel. Vettel's in a different car this year, but it's the same situation. As we've moved our car up the grid a bit, it's still Vettel that we are battling with, as he moved himself up the grid a bit. As we get a look to the side there, still side by side, and eventually forced to tuck in as Vettel just about puts us into the wall there. Really hard, but here we are into the pits on those 2 stoppers, opting to pit now, other than those who wisely did so under the virtual safety car. Continue on, getting to the inside and completed a double overtake for Albin up to P13. See if we can't get up behind Ricardo, get within that 1 second. .006, 1.0991. That's under a second. Can we hold it though? Can we hold it? 1.03. 003. I think we were within a second there. Let's see. Do we have it? Do we have it? Do we have it? Do we have it? Yes. Yes, we got the flap open. We got the flap open. Guan Yu Zhou flew through and got ahead of Ricardo as well, though. Almost 4 wide there for a second. 3 wide. 3 wide again. Schumacher into the pits. Pourchaire has closed the gap up on Stroll, by the way. He's 10 seconds closer than he was. Leclerc leads from Verstappen, who leads from Russell. Sainz is 4th, Hamilton 5th, Magnussen, Gasly, the Alphas, Ocon, the Alfa Romeos, that is, and then Perez trying to get back up into the points. Almost 3 wide, is 3 wide. Leclerc with the lockup, continuing 3 wide, and we are the ones squeezed out as there was just not room for 3. But that's over and over again. Albon is the guy who backs out first in every single attempt, whether it's somebody else, whether it's him. If they are side by side, he's the one who's like, oh no, I don't want to be here. 1.7 as Guan Yu Zhou drove away while we battled for position and eventually getting to the head of the group. But we can't harvest now as we're suddenly at the front of... That's what our pace is representative of. Fast enough to catch Guan Yu Zhou just by turning the engine mode up a little bit. Meanwhile, Pourchaire, when were you on overtake? I left you on overtake a long time there. Lap 41 of 50 as we're just holding off the challengers behind, trying to close in on, as we get past, trying to close in on Guan Yu Zhou, and we were definitely making up some ground on that. That's really unfortunate that we've been past here. And we'll tuck in for a little bit longer here, but with 2.5 laps worth of fuel, we could probably actually just push just about till the end. So let's go ahead and go back to push. And then meanwhile, at the front of the field, it was starting to be a nice clean run with the one Red Bull who didn't make a big mistake today, and then the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Mercedes. But we are seeing Russell challenge Sainz at the time being. For now, it's back into the order that it once was. And then you have, what's unfortunate for us is Magnussen all the way up in P6. Haas is going to score some really, really good points today, and we have bridged that gap to Guan Yu Zhou now, but it's 10 seconds up to Ocon. So right now, the best we can muster looks like 12th place, and that is so unfortunate. Pourchaire has nearly caught Schumacher, but that's all he has left. We are not going to waste any more engine mode for him whatsoever. We want to save that for future days. He has, well, he's sucked it up today. In fact, we're going to go light and just cruise to the end. And Albon right on Guan Yu Zhou now and already beginning to challenge him here with a handful of laps. Gets to the inside, and as we head around that final corner, tucks back in. He's got the move complete, all but done. He's side by side. There's no reason for him to tuck in there, and he lets off and tucks in on a straightaway where he's about to get DRS. There, we make the move and we make it stick, and that is Albon up to P12 with just a handful of laps to go. Let's go aggressive
and
to
a new position
defend.
Just gained by Williams.
Let's see if we can't start to open the gap on these guys without DRS. How bad are we as they go side by side behind us and nearly side by side with us, but we just block them off there. I think it happened at turn 4, so I mean it was right at the start of the lap, and that is really tough to overcome. Albon for now, with the aggression up, is holding these guys off, so he is doing okay there. I don't think anybody's going to be pitting here with just 3 laps to go, but let's see if anybody's going to suffer through that. Perez is about to at just 30%, as his huge mistake cost him to pit very early, but I think he'll just about make it. Guan Yu Zhou could drop off here as he's at 34%. Ricardo on the mediums, but also, you know, the life on those is going to fade. And as for gap, I doubt we've really made much headway. In fact, we're a second further back than we were on Ocon. now holding off Ricardo, but he's trying to charge through. 3 laps to go. We will have that little bit of DRS to defend with on the last lap, and you can see it's pretty low. So even after a rejoining of the track that cost us 6-7 seconds, and this is a dangerous moment for us. Let's go ahead and go defend here just for right now, just to get a little bit ahead there, and then go neutral again. That's used up what we had.
Check the DRS.
Yep, copy.
2 laps to go.
2 laps
Yes,
to go.
this is, that was almost good for us, as Guan Yu Zhou for a moment got up beside Ricardo, and that was what we needed. That was definitely what we needed. Ready to defend again in an instant. 2 laps to go. Ocon has gone around Alonso for the last points paying position. And Bottas just went around Gasly to get up into 6th. Leclerc has passed Verstappen for the race lead with 1 lap to go. And we are pulling away from Ricardo by driving on attack. We now are outpacing him with just over a lap, or still just over a lap to go. For us, anyway. And we actually have been drawing in closer and closer to Pourchaire. Pourchaire losing some ground, lost about 6 seconds. That DRS just allows Ricardo to close right up on us. Go ahead and go defend here. This will be our last 2 DRS zones. It does look like to start getting some points, though, on a consistent basis, outside of those circumstantial rain ones, which I think we could score some high placings on those, some 6th, 7th place type, 8th place type performances. Okay, here we go. Defend, as we're going to come into that last DRS zone here fairly soon. A little early on that one. Wait. There's the detection zone, and there we go. Final turn. We're just holding off Ricardo. And we will hold him off for P12. On merit. The only car that had a problem in the field besides Pourchaire was Perez, and Perez recovered for P11. We, meanwhile, and he actually had recovered higher than that. I mean, he was all the way up to about P9, but used up his tires, fell off the cliff, and fell back down 2 positions at the end, but not enough to get anywhere near us. We had a little bad luck.
What a pleasure it was to watch Alex Albon on the track.
But then
And an
Albon,
amazing
especially
result
through
to
that
match.
first stint, really struggled with the potential overtakes. And that held him up for a long time there, and it allowed that gap to grow more, because we did have better pace than those other guys. And we saw it there on the hards. When we were on the mediums, he struggled. He really struggled. I don't know if it was the tire compound, because others seemed to also struggle on the mediums, or what. And then, of course, qualifying, I feel like that has to be on me. But, of course, all last season, there was no drop-off on tires, but they're supposed to be with the update. We just don't know. It's not confirmed as of yet. I would have liked to have seen, a change log on what sort of updates we've seen. Did we even see the update? I still don't know for sure. I need to go in Steam and take a look, and maybe there has been confirmation. Maybe there's a change log there. But anyway, P12 up from P16. Definitely showing some really good signs. And this still wasn't an ideal circuit. I mean, high and medium corners, there were plenty, yes, but there was 4 very low-speed corners on this track. And there's plenty of straightaway where top speed was important, and we don't have the top speed. Yes, we have the high-speed cornering. Yes, we're fairly decent at the mid-speed cornering, where we're almost equal with the midfield. Close now, but not quite there. We've got 3 upgrades on the way that are coming soon, and that combination might be enough to get us where we need to be. But right now, we're definitely not P7. We've got some work to do. Aston Martin, though, well off in the distance from us. Terrible day from Porsche, but that's one mistake that was a super costly one. I mean, massively costly. We beat AlphaTauri. We did beat McLaren. So actually, with finishing ahead of Ricciardo, that is 7th place on the day. So far, just 12 riders have finished in the points. Ocon, with his 10th place today, becomes that 12th. Albon is now the highest finisher in the field, who has yet to score. And Porsche drops a couple spots to 16th after poor performance today. But again, at least one team is well behind us. But our problem with Haas is that Magnussen is really doing well. And then, the Alpines look strong. So Haas is scoring some strong points right now that they need. At least, and Norris has had a good day. It's going to be tough to beat. Seventh is going to feel like a bit of a stretch right now. It looks like AlphaTauri and Aston Martin are going to be pretty easy to beat. But who that other one team would be, I don't know. Alpine looks strong. Alfa Romeo looks ridiculously strong, so that's definitely not happening. But McLaren and Haas, they've already accumulated. Their top 2 guys already have 8 and 7 points. I think we're going to exceed 10 this season. I think we might exceed 15 or maybe even close in on 20. But if they have 8 and 7 already in just 2 races, what are they going to have by the end of the season? It's going to be tough to get ahead of. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.